Hello, my name's Grace and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the first time I'm doing one of these kinds of vlogs, and so I'm probably talking too fast, and I'm doing this from my phone and trying very hard to focus on looking into the camera, so I apologize this might not be perhaps the most professional thing you've ever seen, but I'm coming to you today to do a bookshelf tour. I just moved into a new apartment, I just graduated from college, moved a couple states away, lots of big stuff going on, but my 13-year-old brother made this for me. He's a carpenter, he's been taking lessons with an old family friend of ours, and I wanted to show you my setup, so. On the top shelf here, we start with a lot of knickknacks. I have been carrying these with me for years, but I haven't really had a good way to display them until now, because I've always been living in dorms without a lot of space. So I have this mask up here that I got when I was thrifting with my friends, and we picked it out because it's my colors of green and yellow. This my little sister made for me. She's 9 now, I think, 9 or 10. She's getting so big. But that's a quote from one of my favorite books, and she wanted to make me a little poster for my wall, which I think is adorable. Down here I have all of my D&D stuff, lots of D&D stuff. I have a bunch of minis. This is Alia Antares, who is from an old story of mine involving a girl that got turned into an AI for a spaceship. I ended up recycling her for a D&D game that my roommate and best friend ran, and it's been a lot of fun. I had a great time with that campaign. These two minis I'll paint to match Sora here. She's my Airbender OC from a Avatar: The Last Airbender game that I run with my best friend from high school, and so she's probably one of my favorite D&D characters of all time. I really love playing her. We're on hiatus right now, so it'll take a while until I can get to play her again, but I'm very excited to. And then this is Ty from my friend Alex's game, and she's a monk and a shifter, and she recently got possessed by a creature of fear. So real going full Magnus Archives with that one. But all these other trinkets hold special memories. This and the box, which is called a heart, are both references to my friend Katie's story Groundhog Day, and she sent me these as part of a pen pal thing a couple years ago in 2020, right in the middle of quarantine. This little dinosaur guy is a flexi. He can wiggle. I 3D printed him at school. I used to work in a makerspace, and I got one of these for my baby sister, and then my 20-year-old sister was like, I love it, I want an army. So I have so many of these lying around. This little bird whistle and the fairy kiss, it's a little pebble, pink pebble, I got from the Ren Fair when I lived here last year. All of the seashells are from the first time I went to the beach with my boyfriend. The little anklets I used to wear when I was lifeguarding over the summer. This is another little 3D printed bust that my boyfriend made for me a while ago. This is a little trinket that my roommate got me. I don't actually remember where I got this piece of fluorite, but it is very pretty. And then this little guy is named Plug. He's a character from Rolling with Difficulty, which is a D&D podcast, and one of the people on the channel, he goes by Yolki, modeled this whole thing, and so I printed him off at school too. But yeah, Yolki did a great job with it, and I love having a little Plug sitting on my bookshelf. And then this is a candle, and the case for it, I laser printed at the makerspace at the library here, where I'm currently living, and so that's a very fun thing to have on my shelf. Just a record of all my different adventures. This shelf is most of my fiction. So on this side here is mostly a TBR / fantasy fiction. It's not super organized, but most of these are books that I either like or I'm going to read soon that fit into like the fantasy YA, mostly fantasy genre. I recently finished the Wingfeather Saga and I am obsessed. I think I have a review going up on this soon, and I would genuinely say it's better than Narnia. That's high praise for me. This is a TBR. This is only here because it doesn't fit on the Sanderson shelf. TBR. I really like this one. I have a review of it somewhere. I really like this one. It's a YA fantasy with like powers called Graces, and my friend lent it to me, the same one who runs the Avatar campaign, so I need to give it back to her. Unseelie, I really love. I did a review of that. It's about changelings. TBR. TBR slash for a friend, TBR, TBR. And then this is a Catholic series following the adventures of St. George, of the St. George and the Dragon myth. But before he becomes St. George, it's his process of doing heroics and following God and his story in the Roman Empire. And so this is a great book series. I highly recommend it if you like Christian fiction that's well written and historical fiction. This is TBR, and then The Little Prince is one of my favorite books of all time. The reason these are separated from these other books is because this is my favorite part of the shelf. These are all books that are written by people I know, friends from Writebler, and I love having a shelf of them so much. I plan to have this go all the way across and move this stuff to a different shelf eventually. But for right now, I am so happy I have these. This first one, actually, you may not see, but this is my very first book I wrote when I was in 8th grade. It's called Velota's Adventure, and it's about a girl in Renaissance Italy who apprentices to Leonardo da Vinci and learns how to build a flying machine and then flies off to see the world. I plan to rewrite that at some point, especially since I'm going to Italy in a couple weeks, or maybe by the time this is going up, I'll have been in Italy and been inspired to rewrite it. But maybe that'll be a middle grade, like, woman in STEM fiction project at some point. I'm pretty sure I've done reviews for all of these: Howl, Arrival Most Vile, The Stray Spirit, and Ildidar. These two are TBRs that I haven't read yet, but I did review another book by this author, Lynette. I read Fireflies, which I really enjoyed, and so I promised I would check out these other two books. I missed the arc for Hymn of the Dead because I was busy moving, but I'm super excited to check these out, and these reviews will be coming soon. I'm taking them on the plane to read. But I think my favorite thing about them is this little music note on the top. I have a guitar downstairs. I have not yet started reading this music to try and figure out what this melody is yet, but I am so curious to find out what song is playing here across these books. Lynette, you're a genius. These are just my markers for not having a better place to put them, and this is a little guy that I printed at my job on the 3D printers. So this next shelf coming down is a lot of my classics, nonfiction, school books, Catholic stuff. So starting from this side, this is actually a really funny book my mom gave me called Catholic Philosopher Chick Makes Her Debut. It's about a woman who goes to grad school and then romance happens and she's in a class about St. Thomas Aquinas. I didn't expect to like it. It's very funny though. This is a mass booklet. This is a prayer journal. This is a book that I read for high school about rhetoric. It's really good. I highly recommend reading it if you want to learn about oratory or persuasion or the tricks that the media plays on you. It's very good. On Writing and World Building is written by Timothy Hickson, who is also known as Hello Future Me. He's one of my favorite video essayists, and he's got actually 2 more volumes of this series, I think, coming out. They're the scripts for his video essays, and I haven't gotten them yet, but I can't wait to. I don't know if I've actually read this yet, but it's called The Right to Write, and it's all about, you know, writing, craft. But No Plot, No Problem is by the creator of National Novel Writing Month. I got this when I was very first starting out to write, and it was a really big help. So that's my craft writing book section. I'm looking to expand this with some others that I've seen. I just haven't bought them yet. I have a lot of like ebooks and ARCs and things that I haven't bought as paperback because college student has no money, but now I'm an adult with adult monies and I'm about to become very irresponsible with this privilege. Beowulf, of course, always a classic. These from here on out are just kind of organized by height. This I just recently got at the Columbus Book Fair. It's called Wind, Sand, and Stars by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who is the author of The Little Prince. I didn't know he wrote anything other than The Little Prince, and I love The Little Prince, so I'm very curious to see what this is about. These are my Penguin classics. I've read all of these. I love all of them. The Count of Monte Cristo might be one of my favorite classics ever. I listened to it. I didn't actually read this copy because it's a chonker, but it is very nice to have on my shelf. Of course, Shakespeare, and The Three Musketeers is also by Alexandre Dumas, but I have not read it yet. So that's next up on the TBR. This was a book I got in college because I went to a Catholic store with my one friend. It's about St. John Henry Newman, who's the patron of the Newman Center, which is what we called the Catholic group on campus. And I didn't get very far into it because then graduation stuff happened. But on the first page in this book, it talks about how Newman created friendships wherever he went. And I thought that was so beautiful and fitting because so many of my best friends from college I met through the Newman Center. And I just really loved the community that we had there, and I miss it a lot now that I've moved away. But I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of this and learning a bit more about that patron saint. This is called Where the Crawdads Sing. It's a really famous book, I think. I got it for free off of like the little free library pile, I think. Haven't read it yet, on the TBR. The Singer of All Songs, I think I also grabbed off of a little free library pile at one point. My beloved copy of The Princess Bride. This is actively falling apart. The pages are just gone. The illustrations are gorgeous. I've read this book dozens of times. I need to get a new copy because it's falling apart, but I love it so much. So that's going back up here. I have not actually read A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court because I've read other Mark Twain books, but I like Mark Twain, so I'm looking forward to reading this. I think this was a Christmas gift for my little brother, the same one who made me the bookshelf. He knows what I like. These came from BJ's or Costco, like a big box store, but they're gorgeous. So I love having these copies. This I got on vacation in Yorktown, Virginia. If you ever go to Yorktown, Virginia, there's a adorable little used bookshop there that I found some amazing finds at. And yeah, I think that's also where I got this one. V.E. Schwab is just here because it doesn't fit on the shelf above, but I really love The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. It's a great story, and I think I I definitely put a review on my website. It gets a lot of views because V.E. Schwab is huge right now. I'll probably read the rest of her work at some point because I like her style a lot. I just haven't had the chance to check it out. And then Sherlock Holmes, of course, always a classic. And then we have the Sanderson. I'm a huge Sanderson nerd. I don't talk about it on my website that often because if I did, I would never shut up about it. And also, he writes so much, I cannot keep up with him. I kind of regret not getting the hardcover versions of his secret novel projects, if only because the new, like, publicly available cover for Tress is ugly, and I love the original cover for Tress and the Emerald Sea, but I also am a strong believer in paperbacks because you can throw them in your book bag and take them everywhere you want, and so that's why these are here. This is also just my little shelf of everything else that doesn't fit. And so I have a bunch of, like, Write in the Rain notepads, which are great for taking with me places. These are fossils I collected, acrylic paints, roses, yellow roses I dried that are getting crusty, moss from my coat project, more art supplies. These are all the stickers for my Ko-Fi shop. I have quite the inventory. Not to plug my Ko-Fi shop, but I have a Ko-Fi shop. I never talk about it. If you've listened this far in the video, congratulations, you got to the accidental self-promotion point. And then a couple other small, like, Catholic books that just happen to fit here. The story behind the feathers is that my grandfather was a fancier. He raised homing pigeons, and he passed away a couple years ago during COVID. He was older, had dementia, it was his time to go, but we all still miss him very much. And so whenever I pray and think about my pops, I always seem to inexplicably find feathers laying around, and so we started collecting them as a family. And so whenever we find feathers, it's a signal of saying, oh, Pop says hi from heaven. So that's why I keep them here with all the rest of my beloved little trinkets and knickknacks and things to remind me of him. And then here on the bottom shelf are all of my journals, well, mostly journals. These are also all the tall books that wouldn't fit anywhere else. So I have here my sketchbooks, all here. These are all my bullet journals, reading journal, prayer journal. This one is Laocoon Madeline journal, sort of. This is poetry. This is, it started as a diary during 2020 and then I fell off the face of the earth when COVID happened. So now it's my D&D journal. This is something I need to give to my siblings. Avatar, because these are the only DVDs I own. And then a bunch of like photo books with my family. And then these are all of the loose leaf, like creative stuff that I did over like middle and high school. And I needed binders to put them in. These are both Runaways. And this is my friend's Quinn's book, Dream Shadow, which I beta read and absolutely love. And one of these has Storge in it, I think. The first draft of Storge, which will not be seeing the light of day anytime soon. But I was graduating and had a lot of printing points to use up. So I just printed off all of my work. But that's it. That's the bookshelf. And to kind of give you a tour of the rest of my writing space, I will... Turning this back on, I just realized I forgot to mention my little sister left me stowaways of little stuffed animals when I moved so that I wouldn't be lonely, and so I have Curious George here in the corner. But beside here, I just have some of my music posters on the wall. I'm hoping to fill this up soon. I'm going to a Crane Wives concert later this year, and I'm very excited about that. But I have the Love Run lyric print by The Amazing Devil, and then the Arcadian Wild, of course. And then I have a big desk here. I love my big desk. It is 28.5 inches wide. I had to get it upstairs. This door is 29 inches wide. It barely fit. It's here to stay, but it's a giant desk and I love it very much. So I've got my the second monitor and my I was gonna say PC, but my laptop setup. Eventually, whenever this laptop dies, I will probably build a PC, but until then, this is what I've got. Got a nice window, and this is a print my mom got for me. It is The Tempest by William Shakespeare, but it is a lithograph, and so all of the color is actually text, which is the body of the story, which is very cool. So it's looking a little barren here right now, but I'm looking to get more prints and more artwork to... So, thank you for coming with me on this bookshelf tour. I hope it was at least somewhat interesting and it wasn't just me rambling at my phone for I don't even know how long it's been. But I hope to see you back here soon. I'm going to be having a live stream on the last Friday of August, and I'll be doing write-ins, sprints, and chatting about my work. And I'm going to hopefully have a couple more author interviews on here soon. But with Amanda Aller, who wrote Daughter of the Sun, and with Lila Marie, who's writing The Red King's Mystical Suitors. And so keep a lookout for those in the near future. Thanks!